So what exactly happened from you guys' side?
From our side, there was an altercation with a different boat, which had other kids on it, black kids, and there was an altercation. There was a fight, something happened, and they went back to their respective boats or whatever. And when his best friend was on the other boat, so when he went to go like check up on Nolan and everything after the fight, Nolan's boat was gone.
The boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat.
And then there was a girl on the boat that's not in any of the pictures or wasn't the girl that he was talking to. And when she got back on land, she turned off like her Snap location, but her best friend still had her location on.
Welcome to Fugitive TV. I am your host, Ray Marcel, and I have a special guest today, okay? I did a video not long ago about Nolan Wells a couple days ago, and in the middle of the video, I had an interview that was done with somebody who was close to the situation, all right? And it was done with a young lady who was talking about the boat was being scrubbed late at night. I don't know if you guys remember this, and about the phone, how the parents had to actually go get the phone back. Well, I posted that on my YouTube, right? That interview, if you want to call it. And a young lady reached out to me. Her name is Janice Heirs. Very nice, very nice. And she reached out to me saying, hey, you know, that was my interview you posted. Can I get some credit? And I was like, sure, because I didn't know who the original person who did this. It was something I found on YouTube. And I said, sure, you know, go on ahead. I gave her the credit right then and there. Here, let me give you the credit. Go follow her on TikTok, you know. Well, we've been talking ever since then, and I invited her on my platform. So I'm going to do an interview with her that you're about to hear. And she is actually going to explain everything about how she came in contact with this other person who was close to the situation. And because this person that was on her panel knew a lot before we even found out about it before the press conference. So please take a listen to this interview and go follow her. Her name is byjaniceayers, TikTok, all social media, byjaniceayers. You see it down there below, all right? And let me know what you think. Let's go ahead. Let's introduce yourself. Introduce yourself. Tell people who you are. I saw that you even had a couple degrees on your TikTok too.
Yes, so my name is Janice Heirs. I do have my bachelor's and master's in criminal justice, which is why I even make the type of content that I do. Because I believe no matter what your race is, no matter your gender, your identity, if you were victimized, you definitely need to receive justice. And so many times in our community, we never see that. So that's why I make it my mission to talk about stories about us where we can get that justice that we need.
That's good. Yeah, I peeked out some of your content. You are doing great work over there. So I did look at some of that. It was, like I said, it was great. And I'm glad that you chose a path to where you can help others out. Me and you were talking offline, and I said, this world needs more love, not hate. We got enough hate as it is.
Yes. And I want to say this too. I know the interview is for me, but I want to say this to all of your viewers. Like, you are a really, really good person, and I could sense that just from the messages. So I want you to continue what you were doing, because you were definitely making a difference, and I can feel your spirit. So I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate those words. I really do. I try and stay humble, and I just use what God gave me as gifts and personal life experiences to, try and help other people is, what I try and do, whether it's getting word out there or trying to help people solve a case that maybe sometimes law enforcement, because I'm working on some of those right now, law enforcement aren't helping them much. I've done a lot of those. So, so I'm just using what my life experiences, you should say, to help others out now.
Yes, and I agree with that. I know we're talking about Nolan today, but I am in contact with a close family friend of Tone Miller, and it's the same thing. So I'm doing everything to get the word out for her too. So
oh wow, yeah.
Tone
So
is
Yeah, it's out there. It's out there. And for what I want to tell the viewers is, so if you watched my original video on Nolan, I had a clip of an interview that was given on TikTok, and the clip was by Miss Janice here. And I didn't know where the original clip came from. I got it off YouTube. And the clip was actually great.
But the story that they keep trying to push out to everybody is that the boat was sinking and taking on water, and they were telling Nolan that he needed to get on the boat, but Nolan wanted to stay back with a girl that he never met, which he wouldn't have done.
It's a person talking about, and we're going to get into that. She's talking about everything Nolan Wells, because she lives there, right?
I don't want to disclose her location right now. And I want to add too, I know her name is out there, but for anybody that's watching it, I know that we talked about this offline.
Uh-huh.
I know her name is out there, but please don't repeat it, because her safety is definitely my priority. I'm going to protect her at all costs. And also some people are saying that she was a witness. She was not a witness. She's just a close friend.
Okay,
So
all right. All right. So she was, let's say, close to the situation. So she was close to the situation, and I know she was, so she knew some of the behind the scenes that was going on. And when I was listening to the clips, I was like, this, she knows what she's talking about. This sounds like, this doesn't sound like fluff. So I know when me and you were talking, you said you weren't even planning to do an interview or anything like that. You were just doing a TikTok panel, and she popped up on the panel. Explain how that happened.
yes, so over on my TikTok, we do lives every Monday through Friday, 4:30 to about 7, and we talk about criminal cases in general, and we just break them down. And I guess because we were talking about the situation, she came up, and that's why I was saying her name, because I thought she was just a normal person, just providing what she thought, but that wasn't the case. And one thing that I do try to do for my platform that a lot of platforms that I see don't do, we have to give people room to speak. A lot of people don't give that. And in my lives, that's what everyone says. Like, it's a community. We can actually speak. We don't
Mm-hmm.
argue. It's no disrespect. So I felt that she felt comfortable enough to speak. And I also think that's something that sets me apart.
And actually, when I was listening to that, she did feel comfortable, and I realized you were not interrupting her, because you go on a lot of TikTok panels and people are interrupting you, and
Yes.
a lot of that happens. We know this, on these panels. So, and I realized you were letting her speak, and I don't know if you had anybody else up on the panel, but they were letting her speak if there was. So that's one thing I realized, that I guess that part alone helped me realize that this is not fluff. This is not fake, because nobody's even cutting her off. So I do appreciate and respect you for not, for letting people speak.
Yes. Well, thank you. That's very important. There were 9 other people on the panel, but
Oh,
we
wow.
all know, like, it's going to be respectful at any point, and we use the black button over there. Whenever someone tries to go away from that, we don't play that. But I have to respect my people as well, because they create that culture as well. So I appreciate them too.
Great. I respect you for that. That is wonderful. And from what I've heard from the when she was talking, she was close to the situation, so she knows some behind the scenes. And
Hmm.
she started talking about the phone. And
Yeah.
that's what made me, perk up my interest, was the phone, because there was so much hearsay of, I read one article where the girl Nolan allegedly was with gave the parents the phone. Then I read another article where the boys Nolan was with gave the phone. So it was so much
Yeah.
confusion with that. And she actually cleared some of that up before the parents had the press conference the other day.
I was just about to say that that's how you know she's telling the truth. She was saying things before the press conference, and there's no way she would be able to do that if she was lying.
Yeah, I totally agree, because she cleared some of that up. And at first I was a little like, okay, maybe she, because at first you're kind of like, okay, maybe she knows, maybe she doesn't. But then when the press
Yeah.
conference came out yesterday, and they went on that media run doing their interviews, it verified what she said, with
Yeah.
the phone. Now, when she first started saying these things about the phone, did you have any doubts in the back of your mind, or were what were you thinking?
Well, I will say this: when she first came up and she said, he's my friend. When I hear that, I automatically think, are you telling the truth? But
Mm-hmm.
her details, because she was so details, just in my background, if you are lying, you're not going to be that detailed because it will be easy to dispel. So,
Right.
so she definitely was telling the truth. Like, from everything, from the phones all the way to it was just so much. She was spot on.
And she was the one in your clip or your panel. She was the one who was originally saying the messages were deleted.
I don't think she said the messages were deleted. So what I did before our interview today, I actually went back through the video to make
Uh-huh.
notes because and just as a sidetrack, I see so many people changing the story. So I want to make sure that I am accurate. One thing that she did say about the phone, she said the boys did not want to give the phone back. Someone
Mm.
had to get it, and that's the same thing the mom said in the interview.
And picked up his cell phone from where it was, and then provided that to us because we of course contacted authorities to figure out who to do the report with, whether it was the county or the city, which then turned into DMR, who I contacted immediately.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. That is what I heard. Actually, you are correct. And like I said, so when she came out and said that, that was the third narrative. I heard, because I told you first it was the girl gave the mom, then the boys gave it back, and then she came out and said no, they had to go get the phone. And
Yes,
and that aligned even with what the dad said, how yesterday he said he had to go get the keys and the car, which I found I like once I heard those things, that's when the like, okay, this is starting to get really suspicious. And she was
yes.
talking about how she I guess scrubbing the boat late at night too. Was that on your clip?
Yes. Now I have to say allegedly, but yes, she did say that, and that's important to know as well, because this allegedly happened at the judge's home.
Mm. Okay, all right, all right. And I was telling in my prior video, so I live in Florida. I'm surrounded by boats. And in my
Hmm.
video, I was saying most people when they go boating from where I don't own a boat, but I see them all the time what they're doing. And a lot of times when they leave out the water, they start cleaning and scrubbing it, right away, or they're cleaning the salt off the boat. But usually they're doing it right away. And she said they were doing it late at night, right? Or allegedly they were at night doing it.
Yes, yes, late at night, and that's suspicious as well. Another thing I have to say, allegedly, that is exactly where the phone was. So I do have a
Uh,
theory. I have to say allegedly
yep.
repeatedly,
Uh-huh.
but I believe his body was on the boat and they used his eyes to unlock his phone and scrape everything from his phone. That's how they got into the phone, allegedly. That's my theory.
And they
Because if you
would
remember too,
oh,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead. No, go
No,
ahead.
I was if you remember too, he was found where they first searched. So if he was there initially, they would have found him.
Yeah, it's funny because we're on the same, that's what I was just about to
Yeah,
say. I was just
yes,
about to say from the press conference, his dad said he went out. He didn't have a boat, so he couldn't go out right away. Then he finally got a hold of somebody who had a boat, and that's where they went out. And and the dad said he was not there because they were in that same area. Then he turns up uh, a day or 2 days after, in that same area he left. Which which another thing, that was another part that I didn't know if that was real or not, because when I was digging into the story, I was seeing people online saying they searched the area before, but as like an investigative journalist, you want to find the actual source, and I could not find the
yeah,
sources. But then when the dad came out yesterday and said that, I was like, all right, this right here is the actual source. So that area was searched before. That's crazy.
yes. And I want to add to that too. So a lot of people are asking me, so whoever the person was who came up on my live, can you ask them more questions? I do still talk to this person, but I don't think it's the time. She is going through a lot. I think her welfare and her mental health is more important than getting information right now.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with you. And not only that, if she knows any information, let's say that can lead to helping the family, that information should go to law enforcement and the family, not to us that's on social media to to where other people can hear it. And then all of a sudden they're relaying messages and now they can hide evidence, So I agree with you with that.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Yes,
And
but I think
oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh,
No, I was about to say from though, I think the Snapchat and the iPhones is the missing link. That's all they need to prove if this is what really happened, which we both believe is what happened. That's the only thing they need. Snapchat and the iPhone. Find my iPhone.
so allegedly for entertainment purposes
Yes,
only.
allegedly.
Yeah. If he's still in the boat and they brought that would make sense of what the girl was saying, because the girl was like, no, he left with the friends. And to be honest with you, when I thought about this, if it was a girl that he first met, I started thinking, why would this girl lie? If he just met her, she really didn't have a reason to lie because she doesn't know who he is or know these people. So the girl did say, no, he went back with them on the boat. So if he did go back and
Yes.
something happened on that boat, and then unfortunately he passed away, and they used it to open up, the snap. That would mean that they some sort of way brought the boat or a boat back out to the water, and did what they had to do and placed them somewhere.
Yes.
And
Yes.
wow, that would be interesting. And then you would wonder if this is the case, who would all be involved in that? That's very interesting. The one thing I did
I will say
find.
too.
Oh, go ahead.
So, what I will say, so the boat was allegedly it was owned. Well, I don't want to use the kids' name because they are kids, but the
Yes.
boat was seen at the judge's son house, like they all live together. So if this is the case, that means the judge would have been aware. And I also have another theory, allegedly, because in the interview, the person said that they were seen partying. So my
Hmm.
theory is that they were told to do that to create an alibi, and then the other people who remained at the house were the people cleaning. Allegedly,
Okay.
alleged. Again,
Okay.
these are theories, but
Yes. Theories and thoughts of own
yes,
entertainment purposes only, people. I mean,
yes.
it makes sense. And the one thing I started thinking about was, and I can't get this part off my during the press conference, and what I said, it all certifies what your guest said about the phone, and they had to get the phone back. And then during the press conference, they talked about how Nolan Wells is heard saying, "Give me my effing phone back." And now it
Mm-hmm.
makes me wonder what exactly was on his phone that was so important that they took his phone from him. And not only that, who was he yelling at that even had the phone? You know, um,
So I have a theory with that. I have to say allegedly. So his dad said this was his last hurrah. And I was told on his phone he would keep his football things on his Snapchat. So to me, that points to jealousy. And I also want to say too, the fact that the video says shows him saying, "Give me my effing phone." To me, that shows premeditation because
mm,
also the keys were in another location from the phone as well. To
yep.
me, it feels like it's planned. Allegedly,
Yeah, the keys were in it. You're right. Because when I listened to the whole press, I didn't even know about the keys situation until I heard the dad talk about it. So I was oblivious about the whole keys. And then that right there made me think like, oh wait, hold on. This you're this guy comes home. I can understand if your friend is over, let's say Nolan's over, but he didn't drive himself. Somebody maybe picked him up or drove him, and Nolan left the keys there, and you don't know where he left the keys at. But Nolan's whole car is in front of the house. So
Yes.
how do you can't miss a whole car, so you don't go home, you don't tell the family like, hey, Nolan's car's here. You
Yes.
don't do none of that. I
Yes.
found that very suspicious.
And I want to bring up to the point too. So I was reading about the Coast Guard situation, how there was a mix up,
Uh-huh.
and I did not write this down. So I'm trying to go off memory. I may not have the correct people, so I have to say allegedly as well. But I know the sheriff as well as the Coast Guard and someone else knew about the call as far as for help. My question is, why wasn't Nolan's mom called? That makes zero sense to me. If Nolan is missing, his mom should have been the first call.
You would think to see if he even made it home or not too.
Yes,
Because if you don't, he doesn't have his phone, how do you know he's not at home?
exactly.
So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And like there was a lot of, like you said, there was a lot of confusion with that. A lot. And I couldn't even, I was trying to figure that out too, because they said the mom reported him missing, but then the boys were called the Coast Guard, and I believe it was like an hour apart of each other or something like
Yes,
that. And I was wondering, like,
yes,
was there any communication between the mom and the boys, or they just made these calls separately?
yes,
It was very odd
yes,
and weird.
yes. And when does the Coast Guard ever give out wrong information? It just doesn't sound right.
You're right. They have their reputation is bigger. It's like the Army or Navy, or they're one of the branches of the military, so it's a whole lot different with them. Um,
Yes.
and I was thinking about I was thinking about, well, we probably, obviously we don't know why exactly they did it, but or if they did anything. Let's say that if anything was done to
Mhm.
Nolan, but I started thinking, I was like, they went out on this boat. They went to the island. They were partying 4th of July. You know, were they thinking we're going to do this before they went to the island, or they get to the island? Because you got a lot of people there.
Mhm.
And just this altercation breaks out. And maybe they want to confront Nolan about something, but not, go that far. But then all of a sudden something happens and it went that far. And now it's like almost like I Know What You Did Last Summer movie type situation, to where all the friends are trying to cover it up now. So do you think it was like they purposely took him out there, or do you think that maybe, the altercation led to that and they didn't mean for it to go that far?
Honestly, I'm unsure, but I do know in a lot of friend dynamics, especially if it's a large group, sometimes there is hidden animosity
Mm-hmm.
and it could have been festering, but at the same time there could have been something that happened there where it just got out of control.
Uh-huh.
But at the end of the day, Nolan should be here.
Yes.
Nolan should be here.
You're right, and he should be. And I loved during the press conference how his mom painted him in the light of, he loved all people, whether you were black, white, green. He was friends with this group, friends with that group. And I love how she painted, that picture of him. And that's something I probably
Yes.
won't, out of that whole press conference, that's probably what stuck to me the most, was how much he
Yeah.
cared about people, which I thought was great.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I think it was
And speaking
during,
of
oh, go
mom,
ahead.
can I just jump in? I see a lot of discourse online saying that his mom and his dad should have taught him better. I just want to say to our community, there's a time and a place right now. Just looking at her crying and mourning, and the dad's, this is not the time. At the end of the day, if something happened to Nolan and someone is responsible, those are the people who we need to blame.
Yes. I agree with you with that. I saw that same backlash. And Nolan's mom is very well spoken. She sounds
Hmm.
she a beautiful woman. She sounds smart. I have nothing bad at all to say about her. To me, it looks like they raised a great young man. The man was in
Yeah.
college playing foot. I
Yes.
mean, all of us, how many of us in our community dream for our kids to even go to a college, even if it's community college, to go to college in the
Yes.
first place? I know so many people
Yes.
didn't even make it to college. So to me, they did an awesome job with this young man.
Yes. Yes. He was awesome. And I hate so many stories, and I don't want to get emotional, but I hate so many times. It's like our good men, our good women are just taken away. And at the end of the day, it's based on nonsense.
You're right. You're
It's just
right.
sad. And the stories every day almost.
You're right. And it's like you said, nonsense stuff that could have been talked out, worked out. And I you know what? And I
Yes.
think that's the problem with not just even our community. I think just with young people in general is we don't have a lot of conflict resolution skills. Um I believe that's something that should be getting taught in school. It should be, in school, you should be getting, this should be a class for that almost every year. Conflict resolution. And I think that hurts a lot of our younger generation because they don't know how to handle their emotions and things just get out of hand. And then once it gets out of hand, now they don't know what to do.
Now that you say that, I have an idea, but we can talk about it at another time. But
No problem.
I'm writing it down.
No problem. No problem. But yeah, it's, some, even when I was younger, I had to struggle with sometimes conflict resolution. But then as you get older, you realize, if you go out somewhere and somebody's acting a fool or being drunk and they're talking smack, what's more important, me being the tough guy here or me just walking away and
Yeah.
going home safely?
Yes, that's the main goal. We have to make it home. We can deal with
Yes.
the other part.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, and I totally agree with you. You can deal with a lot of younger people don't want to. They get their feelings hurt, embarrassed online, which it's understandable. But it's like I'd rather be home, take that embarrassment. The embarrassment doesn't last forever. It goes away eventually. It goes away eventually. There's stuff that happened last week that we all forgot about because something else takes a place of it. And that's something we have
Yes.
to teach our kids, and I believe everybody should learn. But yeah, we could definitely talk about that offline. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
I want to say one other thing too. Just to make it clear. So a lot of these cases they do end up about race.
Hmm.
I want to say this. I'm not a racist at all. However, because these types of situations just keep happening, we have to start moving differently. I think we need to start checking in on each other, making sure our location is always on, and just be careful who we are around because it just keeps happening and we can't keep doing the same things and expecting different results.
Oh yeah, and you're right, and especially in places like Mississippi, which we all know. And I'm not
Yes.
saying any of the boys or the friends were racist. I don't know any of them. But we all know
Yes.
the
Yes.
system. The system has a
Yes.
history of racism. So if something did
Yes.
happen with Nolan, and even if it was, let's say, allegedly an accident, we know the
Mhm.
system can come in and will protect, could potentially protect them because that's the way the system's history is down there. And eh,
Yes.
I grew up in Los Angeles, California, and there's racism, but it's not the same as in the South here, where it's totally different. And I remember growing up
Yes.
learning about KKK and learning about, and to be honest with you, I thought a lot of this was a myth. I really did, because our racism was different. We had Aryan Nation on the beach, but not have to go to the beach past nighttime. They're more like this hate group. It was a little different. There was more of how you want to put it, classism is kind of what it was. The people that were poor
Mhm.
stuck together, people or gang related. It was a little different. But when I moved down here to the South into Florida, I saw like, wow, this stuff really existed. And
Yes.
I go from Florida to New Orleans a lot, and I have to pass through Alabama and Mississippi, the tip of it. I actually go through Biloxi. I go through right there to go to New Orleans. And I've mentioned this in my other video. I've watched a documentary. It was a while ago with Morgan Freeman called Prom Night in Mississippi. And it's about he's trying to make the first integrated prom in 2008, which is not that long ago. And I
At
found that
all.
amazing. Yeah, it's actually a great thing to watch. And during this documentary, they're interviewing kids from both sides, the black and white. Now, the black and the white kids, they wanted an integrated prom because they were friends with each other. Some of them, a couple of them were even dating each other. But it was the older white parents that were, you know, stuck in their ways and didn't want it. And at the end of the documentary, they still had to have 2 separate prompts. It was crazy. But ever since I watched that documentary, when I go through Mississippi, I don't stop. I don't want to risk it just because I know the history and I don't
Yes.
want to be a victim.
Yes, and it shouldn't even be like this. We are all human, but at the same time, I understand it's not everyone from every race,
Uh-huh.
but we have to start protecting ourselves. We have to move smart.
Oh yeah. You got to have that we all, and you know what I'm going to say, you got to have that talk with your kids, you
Mm-hmm.
know. Got to have that. I had
Yeah.
that talk to me. I've had to have that talk with mine. You got to have that talk with your children, and you got to let them know like, hey, not everybody is hateful. You know, you're going to have some friends in your life. They're going to be, you know, no matter what color, religion, they're going to be good, maybe good friends. But you also have to look out for that one or those couple
Yes.
people that envy you from the back.
Yes.
And just
Yes.
like
And
when
I
we get,
think too,
oh,
with
go ahead.
all of the case, with the Nolan case, with the Carmelo Anthony, I hope people aren't just talking about it to talk about it. These are learning lessons.
Mm-hmm. They are. And you're totally right. From all this stuff, we can learn something, you know. And the one thing, and it goes back to, you know, conflict resolution, even with both of these
Yes.
cases, conflict
Yes.
resolution. If these kids have some sort of conflict resolution skills, both of these kids, who knows, might be here right now if this skill was taught to these kids. But we're so busy worried about you know, everything else that we're not worried about teaching these kids how to walk away from a conflict,
Mm.
you know, and it's very sad. Is there anything else that when you did that panel that she brought up that comes to your mind that probably needs to be clarified?
Yes. As I'm just reading through my notes, you may
Oh,
have
go
to
ahead.
clip this. But so one thing that I did find really, really ironic. Remember, everyone was saying there was no cell service on the island. Do you remember people saying that?
Yeah, actually somebody emailed me because
Yes.
when I do cases, I reach out to people and somebody emailed me saying, yeah, there's no cell phone service on the island. That's probably why he left his phone on the boat. So I know what you're talking about.
Yes. Well, I want to add to that. Remember the girl who he was talking to allegedly,
Yep.
who he wanted to stay with?
Yep.
Well, she allegedly contacted her family to pick her up. So if she was able to call somebody, that means cell phone service works.
Wait, so let's rewind that. Pick her up from the island?
So the and this is from my interview.
Yeah.
Um, I wrote Katie contacted family to pick her up,
Uh-huh.
and Katie's mom and brother said she made it safe.
Interesting.
That's allegedly what was said. So that debunks everything. If she was making calls on the island, that proves that cell phone service works.
Interesting. So yeah, if you're able to make those calls. So I wonder if anybody else on that island during that day was using their phone. I don't know about you. I find it very odd that we only got one
Yeah.
footage from, you know, of the
Yeah.
one person camming, or, you know, and we don't have no footage of nobody else with all those people that were there. I find that very odd.
So let me ask you this. Do you think possibly that it was footage maybe on his phone and his snap, which may be why they allegedly deleted it?
I think there was something on his phone. The parents and they clarified that for me during the press conference, because we all saw the video of the altercation going on, and there were
Yes.
some people that kind of enhanced the sound, but I didn't know if it
Mm-hmm.
was fake, you know, so I didn't want to run with it. But then when the press conference came out and they said that, hey, he's saying, give me back my effing phone, that made me think,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so what is so important on his phone that they need his phone, you know, to what they want him to erase something? So what happened that Nolan has on his phone? So I believe they wanted him probably to take something off his phone. And, you know, he probably was like, no, I'm not doing it. So they took his phone from him. We just don't know what was it that was on his phone.
Yes. Yeah. And another thing I wanted to say too, so I'm definitely intrigued and waiting for the independent autopsy to see if there is water in his lungs.
Yep.
Because if he does not have water in his lungs, that means he did not drown. So that's going to be interesting.
Yes, because yeah, if he was in the water that long, he should be, yeah, like you said, water should be in his lungs, gases, all kind of stuff should have happened to him. Unfortunately,
Yes.
you know, with that situation. There was one thing during the press conference. I don't know if you peeped it. I didn't peep it at first either. One of my viewers made a comment and it made total sense. Do you remember the part where his mom was saying that the phone was showing two different locations? One was on Snapchat
Yes.
and then
And
one was on
yes.
Life 360. And I didn't even think about this. One of my viewers said if the phone was showing two locations, it could be possible that somebody signed into his Snapchat with a different device. And that could be why it showed two different locations. I was like, I didn't even think about that.
I didn't think about that either, but I just made a post on TikTok because I was researching how Snapchat versus Life 360
Uh-huh.
tracks location. Let me see what they said. Um, with Snapchat, they have a ghost mode. It's
Okay.
saying location history can remain available in the app settings. So I
Interesting.
think that's going to be important, but
Yep.
at the same time, and again, I don't work for Snapchat. I don't know how their location works specifically, but I'm curious to know, even if it's turned off as a user, I think it may be a possibility that Snapchat may be able to still see the real location.
I would think so too, because I do know Snapchat is associated with in a way with Meta, Instagram. They're all kind of integrated in a way. And all of those platforms I do know can still track you even when your phone is off, you know, as long as you have your
Yes.
GPS set on your phone. Um so I do know that as long as you have it set on, it can still track you. So you would think
Yes.
if it's like that, you would think that the locations would be the same way, you know, unless they got in his phone and wanted to turn the GPS off on Snapchat, which is possible. But why would they do it on Snapchat and
Yeah.
not the whole phone? But I was thinking, I was like, when that viewer told me somebody could have been signing in on a different device, because if they are in his Snapchat, they can change the password and everything, you know, if they are in it.
Yeah.
So and it made sense. I was like,
But
somebody could have been in this stuff, maybe, you know, from a different phone.
but I will say this too at the same time, whenever you are doing something that you know you aren't supposed to, mistakes are always made.
You're right. And we are talking about, we don't know if it was allegedly parents that did this or
Mhm.
allegedly the kids. Because, like you said, mistakes always made. And if they're kids, we know that none of these kids that we see were career criminals. So,
Yes.
you know, this is probably the first act they've done besides maybe doing something stupid like breaking the law, like on a, you know, stealing from the store or whatever. This is something major that this is the first time they've all have been situated with. So yeah, there is going to be a lot of mistakes that have, you know, that could be made. I just hope that Nolan's parents and their team can find these mistakes and that these mistakes
Mhm.
won't be covered up.
Yes. And I want to add something to it. It's a little bit off topic, but on topic. So I was listening to the interview over today, and the person who came up said something very interesting. I have to say this is alleged, but she said one of the younger brothers, where the boat was, he said no one knows what's going on. People on their side are saying this is a conspiracy, and it's being spread by worthless blacks that are trying to be performative.
Interesting. That was from one of the brothers.
Yes, where the boat was. Yes, one of the brothers.
And speaking
And my
of your,
question
oh, go
is,
ahead.
no, I was about to say, and my question is, how does the younger brother know what's going on? That tells me people are in fact talking.
Oh yeah, they would have to. It was too many people there. Too many people to keep everybody's mouth shut. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was way too many people. And you just jogged my memory about something else that was said that she said too. There was a part where she said that which I found very interesting. I guess there was one point where all the friends I guess were eating or something like that, where the people were out searching for
Mm-hmm.
Nolan. Could you clarify that? What was
Yes.
said?
Yes. I actually wrote that down because that was definitely important. She said they were eating out the next day, and someone asked them, "Why aren't y'all looking for y'all friend?" And someone allegedly said, "Y'all already think we did it." And this was before the body was found, so he was still missing. So did what? What are you talking about?
Wow. So while people were out looking for him, they were eating and they were like, yeah, y'all already think we did it.
Yes, and that goes back to my theory. I allegedly, and these are my thoughts, I think they were told to be seen, and
Ah,
someone else were doing the cleanup.
ah,
And and I want to say this too. I watch a lot of Lifetime and a lot of movies, just being honest, but in those stories, you never know what someone would do for their child.
you're correct. You're correct. Because in all these cases, you sometimes can't help but put yourself in the situation of the other parent. Like, what would you do if your kid
Yeah.
came home and was like, this happened? And here's the thing, we don't even know if the parents, let's say the parents might not even know the whole truth. You know, we know our kids lie to us. So the kids could be coming
Hmm.
home like, oh, this happened, this slipped up, whatever. Now we're trying to cover it up for them. So
Yeah.
you can't help but put yourself in like you said, the parent situation, and then think about it. How far would you go to help your kid, even if your kid is guilty of something like this? That is a great question.
Especially too allegedly because the boat was allegedly at this judge's house. If I'm a child and I did something, I would be thinking my mom is a judge. She knows how to get
Yep.
me out of this. Allegedly.
Oh yeah, like you say, you see it in movies all the time with some rich kid or
Yeah.
the parents a politician or something like that. Hey, dad, mom, this happened. I need some help. And not only that, it's not like it's New York City. It's a small town,
Mhm.
so the kids' last names hold weight, in that area.
Yes.
So they don't want to diminish that last name either. Oh,
Yeah.
such and such's kid did this. Oh, we can't trust that family no more.
Yes.
So they got to
Yes.
protect the name and the legacy.
And one thing the person said is that everybody knows everybody. So that's why I find it very suspicious that the Coast Guard was called, the sheriff, but not his mom. If you all know each other, why wouldn't you call the mother?
Yeah, Y- I mean, and that was one of my questions to begin with, was in between that hour of the mom calling and them calling, did they ever call the mom or call the dad? You would think they knew where they lived. Did they go to the
Yes.
house? you, you know, it was very, very odd. So, do you did she ever give any indication of how close Nolan was with these kids? Did she ever say anything like that?
Yes. In the interview, she said they had been knowing each other since elementary school. So that's
Huh.
what makes it worse. These are people I know he trusted with his life.
Wow. So that means the parents probably knew each other then too. You would think.
Well, one parent is saying that they knew each other, but one parent is not. So somebody is being dishonest, and I'll just leave it like that. I don't
Yeah,
want to say too much, but
I got you.
someone is not being honest.
I mean,
My
just
my
common
the- my
sense.
theory on that too is my theory on that too. They may have went to the same school, but you can go to the same school with somebody and not know them.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. You are right, because somebody's parent might be, I don't want to meet these parents and sit at home. There are parents like that. We know that. So,
Yeah,
unlike me, I'm the parent. I want to meet my kids' friends' parents. That's me. I'm different. But there are
yeah.
parents that don't care. So you're right.
Do you find it suspicious that the boys allegedly refused polygraphs and that they lawyered up immediately? Allegedly.
So I look at it two ways. So the first way I'm going to tell you on my channel, I tell people a lot because back in my past I got into trouble and all kind of things, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I tell people I've seen when I was locked up, I saw so many innocent people in jail. It's ridiculous. There's so many innocent people in there that actually need help and actually really are innocent. Because they didn't know any better. They were naive when it came to the system. So they didn't lawyer up, and investigators would pretty much interrogate them and pretty much, get them to say something that will maybe place them at the scene, even though they weren't there. I mean, they might have been there, but they didn't do anything. And now they're being charged with something they maybe shouldn't have been charged with. And they accepted a plea deal because they had a public defender and the public defender didn't care. So I've seen all that type of stuff. So on my channel, I do tell people, I don't care if you didn't do it and you don't have nothing to hide. But I do say in certain situations, you probably want to get a lawyer before you start talking to these detectives. Go talk, say what you need to say, especially if you have some evidence or something, but get the lawyer first before you go in there running your mouth because you don't want to be placed at the scene. So I do understand them lawyering up, especially because the mom's a judge. So she knows the law better than anybody. We know she's going to lawyer up, and not say anything and stuff like that. But then again, after you lawyer up, if you don't have nothing to hide, why not go in there with your lawyer and say, hey, this is what I know, and have maybe the lawyer speak for you?
Yes, and from my perspective, I don't think it's so much of the polygraph and the lawyer. I think it's all of the other stuff in combination with that. That's where the problem is.
Yes. Yeah, like I said, it's all situational, right, sir? But there's a proper way you can do things. I understand lawyering up. I understand that to
Yeah.
the T. I'm never going to hate anybody for doing that. But once you lawyer up, and if you really don't have nothing to hide, then have your lawyer speak for you. He can easily go in there and say, hey, he knows this, he knows that, and this is what we're going to talk about. Even if you have a slight piece of evidence that you're scared that you might get in trouble for, that's why your lawyer is there. Have them go in there and talk and be like, hey, he knows something, but he's scared. Can we at least
Yes.
make sure he's taken care of? Let's give him some sort of immunities for this day to say something if it's not that serious that he, let's say for example, one of the other interviews, a person was saying that there was some sort of substance that the kids wanted to do. We don't know if that's true or not,
Mhm.
but let's say it is. And maybe one of the kids there was doing substance with him. Now, we understand he doesn't want to get in trouble. We understand that. And he doesn't want to get charged for doing a substance, but that's what your lawyer is there for. Have him go and say, hey, he was on the boat getting high. He doesn't want to get in trouble, but he saw what happened. And I'm pretty sure they're going to
Yes.
say, hey.
And my understanding too, if they are investigating a possible homicide, they're not worried about stuff like that. They're
Yeah,
worried
that's
about the meat and
that's little things. They're not worried about who had what. They had any marijuana on them, a little,
yeah.
white. They're not worried. They want to know who did what. But then again, who's doing this investigation? Who knows who? And are they doing a proper investigation?
Yes. I do want to say too, I think in combination with the Snapchat and the geolocation, I think on the boys' side, and I'm not trying to help them or anything, but they are making mistakes by talking too much. Even on Facebook, you're digging yourself in a hole by posting because all of that is evidence as well. Because if it doesn't correlate, we know you're not telling the truth.
You're right, because all they if a trial happens or anything, they use all that stuff in court. I've seen it plenty of times. All
Yes.
that stuff gets used in court. So yeah, that's what you keep your mouth shut. You don't say nothing. You speak with your lawyer. You have your lawyer talk for you if you don't know how to keep your mouth shut. Yeah, and
Yes.
yeah, so you're totally right. And you know what? That's a lesson for anybody. Not even just Case. Anybody that's watching this right now. Just keep your mouth shut. That's what
Yes.
gets you in trouble.
Yes, because at the end of the day, if you're not saying anything, people can only speculate.
Yep.
But at the same time, guilt allegedly makes people talk
You got it. Because they
because you're
want to,
trying to cover.
yeah, they want to defend themselves and make excuses.
Yes.
You're
Yes. When I
totally right
tell you,
there.
we have been on the same page. Like, it feels like we're just having a conversation. Like,
Right? It really
yeah,
does. That's
yes,
it's because you're level headed. I like speaking with people who are actually level headed, and it seems like they can actually think and try and not just listen but understand what they're hearing. A lot of people don't know how to
yeah,
do that nowadays. They hear but they don't want to understand it. And it just goes in one ear out the other. So I try and hear, listen, and then understand it. Is my process of everything I hear. Even if a person is lying to me, I still want to try and understand why they're lying. There's a reason why you're
yes,
lying. Why are you lying? Um, it,
yes.
it- is there anything other you could think of from her being on a panel that might be important? Anything else?
I am hearing from people online, as well as it was said in the interview,
Mm-hmm.
that one of the family members, I don't want to say which one, but it's in the interview, that they are allegedly harassing people. And to me, that starts pointing to race, and not at and at the same time too, you can't shut everybody up. And
Yeah.
for me, I'm from the hood, just being honest.
Hey,
And
you
I'm
both of us.
I'm not going to yes, I'm not going to stop talking. And if it comes to that, if you shut me up, there's always going to be somebody else who can keep talking.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the way it works.
Yes,
And,
I'm
and
sorry,
I,
it's raining here.
oh, it's all right. And I want to add, people who are watching this video or following along with this case, or please, I would say please don't, when it comes to the harassing. I know you want to, but
Yeah,
try not to. You don't want to get yourself in trouble. We are dealing with family members of judges here and things like that.
on both sides.
Yes,
On both sides.
yes. So let's not harass people. Try, I know you want to, but let's not be internet gangsters. And if you want to help, at least try and if you know anything, tell law or try and find the truth, without harassing. There's a way you can go about things and do things. I
Yes.
guess my final question to you would be, um we all think that something did happen to him. We don't think that
Yeah.
he just, you know, drowned in the water. We all think something happened to him. And I guess my final question to you would be, do you think it was purposely done or accidental? And if it was accidental, and let's say they came out and told the truth, like, hey, this was accidental, we didn't mean to do it, do you think Nolan's parents would be forgiving?
So I want to say, and I'm going to stand in this, I don't think it was accidental. The reason being, because if it was accidental, why would you take his phone and his keys? That
Mm-hmm.
that points to premeditation to me. I will say, just based on her demeanor, I think Nolan's mom and his family is very forgiving. And I know religiously that's what we are taught to do. But at the same time, that's her baby. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to speak about that. I don't want to tell her whether she should or not. I just want to have empathy for her because that's her baby.
Yeah, and
That's her baby.
I totally understand. Totally understand. I want to say thank you so much for joining this interview. Please tell everybody where they can find you at all social media.
Yes, so I am on social media. My name is byjaniceayers, as you can see on the screen. I'm on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I also have a website, by Janice Heirs, and you never know, you may see me on here again soon.
Hey, I'm gonna hold you on to that. All right. It might even be other
Yes,
cases. I am gonna,
anytime.
I'm gonna have you on. I'm
Any.
gonna start having you as a guest. All right.
Oh, I definitely appreciate it. And then what I have planned, we're gonna get something together.
All right. No problem. Thanks a lot. We will
Yes.
talk
Thank
off
you for having
air. No problem.
Yes.
You have a great day and enjoy your day. All right.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye bye. All right, guys. So you heard it. Interview with Janice Heirs. She originally had the TikTok panel, and while she had the panel, a young lady popped up, was close to the situation, and started spilling some beans and some behind the scenes information. And at the first, when I first heard it, I was like, But then the parents came out and pretty much certified everything she said. So I'm thinking that this person that was on her panel knows what she was talking about. And if anybody knows anything and is telling the truth, it's probably her. And I want to say thank you guys for joining Fugitive TV. Please love one another, like one another. Please subscribe below. Let me know what you think about what you just heard, all right? And did any of this change your mind what have happened to Nolan Wells, or do you still think that whether you think they did it or somebody didn't do it? Let me know, because I will be honest with you. When I first dug into the situation, I was not sure, just because of all the hearsay that was going on. I wasn't sure. But then the more I dug and then after the press conferences and everything else, now I do believe something did happen to him. Was it purpose or accident? That part, I don't know. But you guys let me know below, all right? Please love one another. Take care of one another. This is Fugitive TV. Until next time, I'm out.